All right, let's talk about it. We're diving into Meta's huge new update, Andromeda. And yeah, it's probably the reason your ad campaigns have completely gone off the rails and your costs are through the roof. So, have you opened up your ads manager lately and just had your jaw hit the floor? Campaigns that were crushing it are suddenly costing a fortune for no reason? Well, you're definitely not alone. And listen, this isn't some random bug. It's a massive, fundamental shift in how Meta's entire ad system works. Okay, so here's the game plan for this explainer. We'll start with what we're calling the Andromeda effect. Then we'll get into why Meta is doing this. We'll even look back at the whole iOS 14 mess for some perspective, and then the important part, your 4-point action plan to deal with it. We'll wrap up with what this all means for advertisers going forward. All right, first up, the Andromeda effect. Let's talk about what everyone's feeling right now, that sudden, painful spike in ad costs. And trust me, it's not just in your head. The data is crystal clear. Okay, check this out. This chart shows the average CPM. That's the cost for 1,000 ad impressions for a ton of accounts. That line on the bottom, that's 2024. The one on top is 2025. Now, look what happens around July. Normally, costs dip in the summer, right? But in 2025, nope. That gap between the 2 years just gets wider and wider. That right there, that's the moment Andromeda started rolling out. It's the hard data behind the headache everyone's feeling. So you're probably asking, why on earth would Meta do this? I mean, why make a change that jacks up costs for advertisers? It seems totally backwards, right? But this wasn't an accident. It's a very deliberate, very strategic move. Let's unpack what Andromeda actually is. So at its core, Andromeda is basically a brand new engine for Meta's ads. Think of it like this. It takes every single ad from every advertiser, sorts through them all, and then picks the one perfect ad to show a person at any given moment. Now, they had an engine like this before, of course, but Andromeda is a total rebuild from the ground up. And there are 3 really big reasons they did it now. First, they want to evolve. It's all about getting better at personalizing ads. The idea is, if they show you a more relevant ad, you're more likely to convert. And when you get more conversions, hey, you're going to spend more money. It's a win-win for Meta, right? Second, they have to adapt. I mean, with AI tools like Midjourney and Sora, advertisers are just churning out a mind-boggling amount of creative. The old system just couldn't keep up. And third, they wanted to simplify. By cleaning up their internal systems, they can handle all this new creative way more efficiently and make sure they're squeezing every last drop of value out of every single impression. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. This whole thing feels just like the iOS 14 nightmare back in 2021. And you're not wrong to feel that way. It was a huge shock. But there's a really, really important difference this time around. Let's just take a quick trip down memory lane. So 2021, Apple drops the iOS 14 bomb, and it just wrecks Meta's data. By 2022, for the first time in their history, their ad revenue actually went down. Advertisers were freaking out. But just look at this. By 2025, only 3 years later, their ad revenue had freaking doubled from that low point. The takeaway? Meta has proven they can take a massive punch and come back even stronger. And this slide right here perfectly sums up the crucial difference. The iOS 14 thing, that was an external crisis. It was something Apple did to Meta. They were on the defensive, just reacting. Andromeda, on the other hand, is totally internal. They designed it, they launched it, and they are in complete control. And what that means for us is that, yeah, there's going to be a painful adjustment period, but it's almost certainly going to be shorter and way more controlled than what we went through with iOS 14. Okay, so that's the background, the what, and the why. Now for the good stuff. How do we actually deal with this? What do we do? It really boils down to a 4-point action plan. This is the new playbook for this new world. First things first, and this is non-negotiable, you have to maximize your data signals. I'm talking about using both the Metapixel, the thing that tracks what people do on your website, and the Conversion API, which sends data straight from your server to Meta. They're meant to work together. Don't use one without the other. The whole goal here is to feed the Andromeda algorithm the best, cleanest, most high-quality data you possibly can. Give it the fuel it needs to work for you. All right, strategy number 2. This is where the day-to-day job of an advertiser is going to change the most. You've got to embrace what I'm calling radical creative diversification. Seriously, the days of finding 1 or 2 winner ads and just letting them run are completely over. And don't just take my word for it. Meta themselves, at their own agency summit, basically told everyone that the best results they're seeing in Advantage Plus campaigns come from launching with an average of 20 active creatives, right from the get-go. Not 5, not 10, 20. That is a massive flashing sign telling us that this new algorithm is hungry for volume and variety. And look, this isn't just theory. Here's a real case study from an insurance company. We launched an Advantage Plus campaign for them with 22 different ads. And boom, it immediately became the best performing campaign in the entire account. It dropped their cost per conversion from $63 down to $55. And even when Andromeda hit and costs started climbing everywhere else in September, this campaign, still their #1 performer. The lesson here is simple: volume wins. Strategy number 3 requires a total rewiring of how you think about targeting. Okay, so in the old days, we would tell Meta who to target, right? We'd pick an interest like photography, and Meta's job was to go find buyers inside that little box. Well, the new logic is flipped on its head. Now we give Andromeda the creative, and the AI looks at everything, the images, the text, the video, and it figures out who the right audience is. Your creative is your targeting now. So, what does that actually look like? Let's say you're selling an electrolyte drink. The obvious target is athletes, right? But with this new creative-first approach, we can test all sorts of angles. Here's one that has zero to do with sports. It talks to people who can't sleep, connecting their problem to something our product can solve: dehydration. Okay, here's another angle. This one goes right after a competitor. It's positioning our drink as the healthy choice for people who are chugging those sugary, frankly toxic energy drinks. See what's happening? We're not using an interest to target energy drink users. We're using an ad that speaks their language to find them. And here's a third one that was an absolute home run. It taps into that universal struggle of trying to drink enough water every day. Again, this blows the audience wide open, way beyond just athletes. And get this, by testing these different creative angles, 2 of them became top 10 spending ads in the whole account, even during the absolute worst of the Andromeda rollout. And that brings us to our final strategy, which, I'll be honest, might be the toughest one for us old school media buyers to swallow. You have to give Meta room to work. You've got to give it maneuvering room. That means moving your budget to Advantage Plus and broad audiences. Stop trying to micromanage everything. In fact, Meta's AI is now so confident that it can actually override the manual budgets you set on your ad sets if it thinks it can get you better results somewhere else. The message from them is loud and clear: let go of the steering wheel and trust the machine. So let's put it all together. What's the big picture here? What does this Andromeda shift really mean for us? Well, it signals a fundamental change in what it means to be a media buyer. Here's the bottom line. The era of winning just by being a technical guru who could find some magic, hyper-specific audience, that's over. It's done. The future of advertising on Meta belongs to the strategists, the creators, the storytellers. It belongs to the people who win with creative. So the question we all have to ask ourselves now has completely changed. It's not who can I target anymore, it's how many different ways can I captivate an audience. That's the challenge, but it's also the massive opportunity that comes with Andromeda. So the real question is your creative ready for that challenge?